I'm guessing that by now you know who I am, and tonight I've got something for the long-term investor, straight out of the FLIR 2 playbook or the FLIR 2 ebook, which you really ought to get. It's real simple to use, the tools in there. And this is longer term. It's on US Gypsum, USG, and I'm just kind of waiting here for this logo to get out of the middle of the screen. I appreciate their program, of course. It's just we got to wait till that disappears so I can show you a chart. And what I've used is called synthetic trend lines, which come from the FLIR 2 ebook, and which your parakeet could easily construct if it knew how. So you want to get out there and get a copy, download a copy of the FLIR 2 ebook, and then you'll be able to argue with me about what I'm seeing. Okay, that should be the end of the logo. Now, if you remember, the reason I got interested in USG to begin with was because of this defective Chinese drywall problem that we're having in this country. And at first, you know, I had thought USG might be headed for the tank, and then but I said in the video, because I had already looked at a chart similar to the one you're seeing now, I said, well, strangely enough, it looks like they're actually going to go up, but I didn't realize just how much until I actually put this quarterly chart together and took a really good look at it. And as you can see, this picture with the synthetics shows that we could be looking for a top of around $36 by mid-December. After that, it's an inflection, and that's either going to mean a momentum change upward, where we'd go up much faster, and that's about 10% of the time or less. But 90% of the time or more, it means it then would turn down. So what I'm seeing for you long-term traders, you know, if you're a short-term trader and you want to do options, I want to talk to you about that later in this video. So bear with me. But if you're, you know, a long-termer, you don't trade a whole lot, I'm suggesting you could get on board this train and wait it out until about the 1st of December and then get off the boat. Okay. Looking at it, there's the quarterly. And I pulled up the weekly and ran synthetics on the weekly. And here's what that looks like. And you can see that it's consistent with what we're seeing on the quarterly. Price is probably going to follow above that D line that it's following right now. And again, these are synthetic trend lines from the FLIR 2 ebook. Probably going to ride on up. You can see it can go a tremendous ways. The last inflection that I could find is the intersect here of that's right here. That intersect right there, and that's already passed, so I don't see any inflections before then. Could be wrong, but what I see is a steady climb. You know, it might have some ups and downs, but a pretty steady climb. And likewise, on the USG quarterly, I could not find any inflections before that target date of mid-December. So I am assuming that it's just going to continue to go up. Alright, so you could park some money there if you have some discretionary capital. Don't bet the farm, but that's what it looks like on our FLIR 2 forward-looking information radar. Now for you options traders, we have April, May, August, and November contracts available right now on USG. Here's the April contract. You've got like 1 week left on this. The last price on USG was $18, and obviously going at the money, you can see the multiple if it goes to $20 sometime in the next few days. I don't like that one. That's risky. It seems like a sucker play to me. Let's go on to May. There's May. That looks interesting. You've got a delta of 4 on that from the ATM to the ITM, right over here. That's not too bad. I'm not talking about the absolute delta, relative to price. I'm just talking about delta from ATM to ITM. So that's interesting, but the thing is, because it looks better than the other contracts, I'm suspicious of it. That really does feel like a sucker play to me. Let's look at August. Pardon me. Now, August, interestingly enough, if you're talking about ATM to ITM deltas, you're looking at delta of 2. That's not too bad and not too shabby, and it could happen. And I like the fact that it's not, that exciting to sucker punch you. You know what I'm saying? So probably a lot of people won't. The problem, if you haven't noticed, you go back and pause the videos, the shots. Liquidity. Liquidity is a problem here. We just don't have the volume or the open interest on this stuff. But if you set an alert, say a volatility alert or a rate of change alert, actually be better, and when it pops up, take a good hard look. You might scalp yourself some decent change there. Okay, let's look at November. And November, now that actually looks pretty decent in terms of it not being a sucker play. Your delta here from ATM to ITM is about I'd say about a 1.7. So that's pretty decent, and that could easily happen given the charts that we were looking at earlier in the broadcast. Okay, well, you know who I am, and I'm Dennis Hudson at orangequant.com, and you want to get a copy of the Fleer 2 ebook, like I say, so you can come back and argue with me about what I'm seeing. And if you have liked the SPY forecast, which the SPY forecast is just turning out beautifully, the SPY keeps going towards 120, trying to hit it, seems to have an approach avoidance complex, a deep psychological disturbance there. So if you like that kind of stuff, and being able to forecast those kinds of things with very simple tools that anybody can understand, you want to get a copy of the Fleer 2 ebook. I'm Dennis Hudson. You have a nice week and weekend, and we will see you next time. Today, by the way, was Thursday night, April 8, 2010, but it's actually now about 2:30, I guess, Eastern Time. So it's really Friday, April the 9th. Have a good weekend, and good luck to you.